Lloyd Russell-Moyle.
Goodness me, that speech was probably one of the worst transphobic dog whistle speeches that I've heard in an awful long time. The idea of linking trans people with predators, frankly, is disgusting, and you should be ashamed.
No, calm down. Yes.
No.
Lloyd Russell-Moyle.
Way to you, or anyone else, to the honourable member. Now, on the substance of this, ignoring that horrible speech that we have just heard. Actually...
Order, Peter Bottomley.
Did the Chair hear anything transphobic in the previous speech?
I have to say to the Father of the House that, different colleagues, different members of this House are going to interpret speeches in different ways. And I suggest that what we do is move on quickly. I think the honourable gentleman needs to calm down, moderate his language, and move on to the substance of the debate. Otherwise, I will ask him to resume his seat. Lloyd Russell-Moyle.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. It is difficult when we're talking about these emotional matters, but the reality of this is, this section 35 is the new Tories' section 28. It is their continuation of a war against a group of people, their culture war, that they want to pursue. And they think it will advantage them in the polls. That's what the Australian Conservatives thought as well. That's what the Republicans in the US thought. But I trust it will not, because the people do not like the bigotry that we hear from the other side. So, what... It is bigotry. I will give way. It is bigotry what we just heard.
I recognise the individual feels...
Could I just say to the honourable gentleman that we are very short of time. I hope that if he takes an intervention, he will stick to the 4 minutes. Alicia Cairns.
I recognise that the honourable gentleman feels very strongly about this, but I would ask him to caution labelling a party as solely one thing, because it is the Conservative Party colleagues who have led for a conversion therapy ban that today has been announced. When I was elected, no other MP talked about it for 7 months, and we have today delivered it. So I would caution him, please do not label all members of certain sides of the House to be transphobic or homophobic, and I would also challenge that anyone should be labelled that within this House.
I will say that there are some very honourable members on all sides of the House, including on that side, who have resisted the moves from the government when trans conversion therapy was removed, pushed for it to get back in, and their work is to be applauded. But what this report says, in reality, is there is no amendment that this government would accept that they would allow to pass. What this flimsy piece of paper indicates is that the only bill that they would accept is the current UK law, and anything that deviates from it would be blocked. Well, I'm afraid that is an undermining of the very concept of devolution. Just be honest. Just be honest and come and say that you want to remove the devolved competencies of this area from the Scottish Parliament and you want to return them back to Westminster. At least that would be an honest debate, rather than this dog whistle debate around the safety of children, which frankly is not correct. Now, of course there will be concerns. Of course, this bill will not be perfect. No bill is perfect. But one of the key principles of my job, I think all of our jobs, is to not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And let's see how this bill rolls out in Scotland. We could have seen the flaws that might have come from it, and then they could have amended it. The Scottish Parliament could have made the actions to amend, because all bills are living documents and practical. But instead, and I say this as a gay man who loves all male spaces sometimes, finds that actually the liberation of having those spaces is important, and I am sure that many women feel that the safety of all women's spaces is important to them. But this bill does not change that law one bit. GRC certificates exist at the moment. We have already a system where you can change your passport and your driving licence without a GRC certificate. Going into a toilet or a public facility or a refuge is not contingent on a certificate at all. So all of those arguments are bogus. And to continue a bogus argument, knowing that it is bogus, is, I'm afraid, a form of bigotry.
Craig